What's up, y'all? I'm AJ Simmons from the Clean Biz Network. Y'all can see that? Okay, good. Y'all can see it. All right. But anyway, I'm AJ Simmons from Clean Biz Network. Today, I want to tell you how I ran my commercial cleaning company in one state while I lived in the other. Let's talk about it.
Headed to the top, there ain't none of y'all stopping me. Used to say I never get a ring, Charles Barkley. Now I got a wife, got kids, on property. Bubble-eyed beans that look like that be watching me. Okay, I lied about the beans, but that was hard though. I'm still in that black act, but she starred though. Cause that's all it takes. I'm flashing for. I'm on my grind, not no more fashion show.
So what's up, y'all? I'm AJ Simmons. I want to talk about how I ran my cleaning company in Virginia, even though I moved to Florida. And really, there's a lot that goes into it, but I'm going to try to break it down as best as I can for you, all right? And really, it just comes down to systems, all right? You have to put systems in place. And what are systems? I'm sure you guys heard that term thrown around a lot over the years in the entrepreneurship realm. And really, what systems are is basically you're creating your business to be able to perform without you involved in it, okay? So we had to really think about all of the things that make our business go. When I say we, I'm talking about my wife, all right? Because my wife actually did help me with my cleaning company, all right? And so when you're trying to create your system, you're basically trying to dumb everything down like, okay, well, what is required to run my business? Like, okay, we know we're going to need somebody to clean, right? That's the basic thing. Then we're going to need something to make sure that the cleaning gets done correctly, right? Then we're going to need to make sure that we have things in place for customer service issues, right? Then we're going to have to make sure we have things covered for like washing your washcloths and restocking your supplies, your cleaning supplies like your spray bottles and your chemicals and all that type of things, right? So basically all you want to do is you want to think about every single thing that happens in your business that makes it tick, that makes it run. Get it and write it down, okay? And then figure out how are you going to cover those things. And then think about plan A, B, C, D, or you know what I mean? Just think about every single possible thing that can happen that might go wrong and how you would cover it without it requiring you to come back and travel back to that state where the cleaning business is running, all right? So I really had like three main lines of defense, okay? So I had my man at the top who was like my general manager. He ran every single thing, right? So he was in charge of dealing with the customers directly. He was in charge of dealing with the employees directly or the cleaning techs. Then he was also in charge of dealing with what we had, which was like that middle layer, which were the inspectors, right? So you had the management, the general manager, you had the inspector at this level, and then you had the cleaning techs who actually did the physical cleaning, all right? And that's how I structured mine. Now, before we even decided to leave and go to Florida, we made sure that we picked a date, we chose a date before we left to put this system in place at least a week or so to see how it will go. Now, I recommend that you do it longer than a week, maybe a month or two, but I did a week or two because I was crushed for time, and I kind of did this as a, like I had to do, I was forced to do it, right? But if you really want to implement a system and you want to run your business from another state, or you're trying to expand to a different state, but you're not sure how it's going to run without you there, here's what I recommend. You have to try it first, okay? So try to pick a date and then let it run for a little bit, a month or two, with your system in place that you're trying to build, right? So I will have my management there. Now, one thing that I did that really made sure that the manager would be able to execute the way that I wanted them to was I gave up some equity, okay? So I gave up 10% in equity to that general manager, so that way when they're, getting those late night calls at 2 a.m. to go cover for a building, or because an alarm went off because the worker didn't know what the alarm code was, or whatever the case may be, it'll feel worth it to them, right? So it's like if they have some sense of ownership involved, then it's like, okay, well now I'm not just working for the man, right? I'm not working for this company. This is actually my business. I have some ownership stake in there. So, and I'm really not a big fan of always giving them equity early on in your company, but in this particular case for me, it made sense to do that because I wanted to give that person an incentive. To want to work that hard and go that extra mile for the company, right? Not to mention this person was my brother, so that also helped and made it easier too to give up some equity, all right? The next thing is after the manager, we also had the inspector. Now, what the inspector did was make sure that the cleaner's job was done correctly, right? So they always went out. So if we had like Monday through Friday customers or 7-day-a-week customers, anything 5 days and above per week that we clean, the inspector will go out there at least once a month just to double check every single thing. I had them fill out inspection reports and email them to me every single month, as well as to the general manager. And I will review those things, right? And on the inspection report, obviously they're grading the level of cleanliness, but they're also looking at, okay, is everything stocked up? Do we need to refill anything? Are the rags clean, right? And so they would let us know on that inspection report, so that and the on the inspection report, so that way the general manager would either replenish the supplies and everything if needed, or they would wash the rags if needed, right? Or restock the rags if needed, right? So it's just really all about, again, just what do we need to have done and who's going to cover it. Now you also have to think about, okay, now what if somebody calls out? You have to have plan X, Y, and Z, right? So one thing I like to do off top was at least have 2 cleaners, at least for every job. So that way, if one person doesn't come in, at least that one person can still come in and cover for the other person. And then that one person will just receive the pay that the other person would have received when they covered them for for their partner that day, right? Another thing on top of that is, okay, well, what if they both don't come out? So now you got plan Y, right? So that was plan X. Now you got plan Y, which is if they both don't come in. Well, now the inspector might be able to go in and cover for them. Then you got plan Z, which is when the general manager can come in and cover for all 3 of them if all 3 of them can't come in, right? And then obviously the absolute worst case scenario is if nobody can come in, well, then the general manager has to step up like a boss and let the customer know, hey, I apologize, we weren't able to make it in last night. We'll be more than happy to provide you with a credit on your invoice this month, and we'll make sure that we do a makeup clean immediately ASAP. Whether you come in that following day during the daytime or that following night after hours or whatever the case may be, but you still want to make up that clean if you can, and if you absolutely can't, then just give them a credit and make sure that you do whatever you can to ensure that that doesn't happen again in the future, because no call, no shows, and not even if it's a no call, but just not showing in general is it's just unacceptable. Okay, it's just completely unacceptable. So always make sure that you have a way to cover the buildings or your customers, no matter what. I say the buildings because I really specialize in commercial cleaning, but I know some of you guys do houses too. But just make sure no matter what, you have a way to have these situations covered, worst case scenario. And that's really what it's all about. If you're going to run a company on autopilot and run it from a remote location, it's simply about, if nobody shows, how can I still have this covered, right? It's always about covering your tail on every aspect, all right? Now, I also get a lot of people asking, okay, well, AJ, I'm just getting started and I want to run my cleaning business on autopilot from day one. Is that really possible? And here's my answer to you. Honestly, I just don't see it, okay? I just do not see it, and it's because you got to get out here and get your feet wet, right? You're going to have to get some funds up. Like, I name inspectors, I name general managers, I name cleaning techs. These are a lot of people that have to get paid, right? So if a lot of people have to get paid, then what do you have to have coming in? Some revenue, right? You got to have some money coming in to pay for these things, right? So if you're just getting started, you're probably going to need to clean some here and there, because you're going to have to build up the revenue to get it started, right? Now, if your money just growing trees, then okay, you might can put the system in place from day one and just be paying people and go into the negative a little bit. And then as you build the business up, then you can start paying for itself. But in reality, are you going to be able to start a cleaning company from scratch without laying one single finger on a rag or some spray bottles? Now, chances are you probably won't be able to. And if anybody's telling you that or selling you that, they're probably selling you a dream, if you're being honest, right? Now, I have seen it done before. I have had people do it in Clean Biz Network that do it. But if we're being honest, those people already had business backgrounds, or they had cleaning backgrounds, or some sort of, really, they're just mainly business background, because that's really more about business. And when you can implement a system, it's really more about business. Think about this. You have people who've been in the cleaning industry for years and years and years, and they're still out in the field. And that's simply because, yes, they might know how to clean, but that doesn't mean that makes them a good cleaning business owner, okay? And so that's what this is really about, is how good you're going to be at business, all right? Now, if you're great with managing people and building relationships, then it'll be easier for you than others to actually build your business and build your system and put it on autopilot, right? But honestly, I would not be trying to putting my business on autopilot as the goal from day one. Now, you do want to always have that in mind. You want to be structuring it that way from day one, but you don't want to just have your mind set up on, oh, I'm too big, I'm the CEO, and I'm not cleaning. No. Okay, you definitely want to get your experience up, because I'm gonna tell you too. A lot of times, the reason why I was able to pay my people well, and the reason I was able to pay them properly as well as bid properly, because a lot of times people underbid. And the reason why you can't bid on jobs correctly, and the reason why you're not paying your workers correctly, is because you don't have cleaning experience. You don't have enough cleaning experience, so therefore you don't know how long it takes to do the job. And since you don't know how long it takes to do the job because you haven't cleaned enough yet, now you're underbidding on contracts or overbidding on contracts because you don't have the time that it takes to clean it correctly. Now you're also underpaying your workers because you're thinking, no, you should be able to knock that out in 2 hours, when in reality it's a 4 hour job. So you're trying to pay them half of the pay of what it actually should be paid, right? And so this is a huge problem that people run into with cleaning franchises. Cleaning franchises, they get lots and lots of cleaning contracts easily and fast, but why? It's because they hire salespeople who 9 times out of 10 haven't even cleaned before. All these salespeople have one agenda, and that's simply to get more contracts. And so if your goal and your job is to get more contracts, that's your only incentive, is to get more contracts. If you don't have these cleaning experience, then your incentive is to only focus on closing the deal, which means that you probably go lowball the price, and regardless, and you won't care about the person who's actually cleaning. And so if you're going to be that way, then now it's going to affect how you hiring people and how long they're going to last with your company. So that won't help there. And it's also going to affect how you bid on the contract, which means you're probably going to lowball because you don't know what you're doing, right? So can you start a business on autopilot from day one? It's possible, but do I recommend it? No. Get your feet wet a little bit first, right? And again, I want you to build a system. Definitely build a system. Don't build your company around you clean. I'm not telling you to clean long term at all. What I'm telling you is, with every new contract you get, clean it for a week or two, 3 weeks. You know what I mean? And then as you're cleaning, be looking to hire people to take over that. And then you go get the next contract. Clean it a little bit. Find somebody as you're cleaning it, and as you secure that account, you should be already looking to hire somebody to come in there, right? But you still want to get out there and get your feet wet. So now you know, oh yeah, that back office over there has a hidden trash can up under that back desk, and the only way you would know it is if you cleaned it before, right? Or you would know, oh, actually, this floor right here, they have a lot of scuff marks over there, and the only way to do it is if you mop like this, right? But those are things that you know once you get your hands on it. Now, obviously, as you scale up into the hundreds of thousands and $1 million level, then you won't be able to touch every single account. But when you're first building, that is the way that I recommend that you structure it. So that way, when you're building your system and you're growing into that autopilot mode, you'll have the knowledge and the experience to train your people properly, to bid on the contracts properly, and overall just have an effective and a good company. All right, so that's how I ran my company from Florida, even though my company was in Virginia. If you want more details on it, let me know. I'll keep speaking on topics like this. And in the meantime, if you haven't started your cleaning company yet, check out cleanbiznetwork.com. As a company I created. I used to be a franchise owner, then I decided, you know what, I'm tired of people giving up their rights to these big corporations, right? So I want to help you and empower you to be independent. So I help you get started with your own independent cleaning company. So go to Clean Biz Network and check out my Cleaning Biz Starter Kits today. And if you already started your cleaning company, also check out cleanbiznetwork.com, because we have a lead generation service. We'll set appointments for you so you can go out there, present your company to your local businesses in your area, and then hopefully you can close those deals, right? And I can train you how to do that. And just check us out, man, cleanbiznetwork.com. And I also have a mobile app as well, the Calculated Clean mobile app. It's a bidding calculator, it's a proposal generator, a walkthrough tool, all type of resources. You can go check that out as well. So I'm AJ Simmons. Thank y'all for listening. Talk to y'all soon.